Yeah, all right. We are rocking. We are rolling. It is past 7:05, 7 o'clock. It's time to rock. And my name is Mathew Zupan, bringing to you Area 51 Marketing Conspiracy Exposed. That's right. Tips and tricks, techniques that if you take one building block at a time, you can start to grow your business online. And it doesn't matter if you use mostly digital. This is what I talk about. Or if you use these techniques in your traditional marketing, by changing it up just a little bit, you can still get better results than the way you're doing it now. So even by using some of these in traditional marketing techniques, you can benefit from it. But anyway, this is my shameless commercial. I've got two commercials today. So this is the quick one. We'll get that out of the way. Area 51, Marketing Conspiracy Exposed, is my new #1 bestseller. And I talk about things like this that I'm going to be talking about today. Today I'm going to take a page out of my book. We're gonna jump on in over to page 175. So if you've got my book, that's great. If you don't, jump on over to Area 51 Marketing Conspiracy Exposed.com and pick up a free copy because I'm giving away my book. All you pay is a small shipping and handling fee, and I will zip that out to you right away. Just tell me where you want me to ship it, all right? So it's a really great. I've got stuff in here that talk about your avatars. If you don't know what an avatar is, that's basically the simple description of who you want to target. So, and how to make sure you're defining your avatars just right so you're not wasting money targeting the wrong target or just shooting out there into space. Okay? That old philosophy of, hey, shoot for the moon and you'll hit the stars. No, that doesn't work. The arrow falls right back down to the earth anyway. So, either way, you got to know where your target is. So, we got a big chapter on that. That's really great. How to put out 50 pieces of content without spending all day doing it. Can you imagine? And the profit cycle formula. I've got the Comedy Club Rapid Fire Product Testing Formula. This helps you test your products when you're doing ads and stuff like that. I know it's a funny name, but it really is a great chapter. It's one of the bonus chapters I threw in at the end just before it went to print. So I was able to get that in. So today, like I said, we're going to talk about your website. Is it dying? Is it sick? Or is it dead? And how can you tell? Okay, so one of the first things is if you've got some people don't know. I mean, you got to take a medical exam of your website uh, to tell if it's doing anything. So if you got a website and it's more than 2 years old and it hasn't been updated, it's probably sick. Okay, it's sick, filled with code that's obnoxious and unnecessary. I love WordPress. I've been working with WordPress since 2005. And for those of you who don't know much about me, I've been in this industry since, before 1998. I actually started my company in 1998, but I started web design before that. And, you know, things were simpler back then. Websites were simpler. The code was easier. And then WordPress came along around 2005 and really started making the big waves. And at first as a blogging platform, and then it became a business platform. And, I love WordPress. I've been working with it for a long time. But I know that when a new business jumps on board to WordPress, one of the first things they do is they start scrolling through themes. Because in WordPress, you got a bunch of themes. And there's a bunch of free ones. And then there's a bunch of free but not free themes. Okay? And what I mean by that is there's a lot of good themes. And you put in your description of the type of theme that you want, and a bunch of new themes come up, and then they're one-click installation. So easy, but they have limited features. So it's like you can test drive it, and you get about half the features. But then if you want to open up the full package, then you have to buy the license for the whole thing, and then it opens up the full package. And the average theme for WordPress usually runs around $60, $60, $70, something like that. You can get them anywhere. Pretty good ones run around 60, things like that. But real expensive ones, yeah, they can go up to as high as a couple $100 just to buy a theme. Now, if you're a small business owner right now and you're trying to think about what you're going to do, maybe you don't have a website and you want to get a website. My advice is don't use the themes inside of WordPress. Okay, there's a better place to go. So I like some of the themes that are in there, and not all of them. And it's kind of hard to navigate around. So if you want to get a good theme and you haven't built your website yet, jump on over to a website called ThemeForest. I believe it's .net. ThemeForest.net. Now there are some of the best designers in the world when it comes to WordPress themes. Again, the caveat is they pack these themes filled with so much junk that your website doesn't need all of that stuff. So now you get like WordPress website overload. And that's the second biggest problem of whether or not you've got a sick, dying, or a dead website. It might be up to date. You might have a fresh, new WordPress theme, but it's filled with so much stuff. It's kind of like overeating at Thanksgiving. Oh, you feel kind of bloated, and you sit there and you just eat and eat and eat, and then because there's just so much wonderful food, you got to try everything, right? And then you force yourself to eat dessert. I don't know about you, but I like to do it the opposite way around. That way I don't overeat, right? I eat the dessert first because I know I'm going to eat it anyway. And then if I don't have enough room for extra mashed potatoes, hey, whoa, I cut back. Okay, I don't go okra on the mashed potatoes, but I make sure I get that dessert in first. That way you don't overeat, you don't feel bloated. But a WordPress theme is the same way. They get bloated with the last WordPress theme I was looking at for a company, they said, you know what, we want to do a WordPress theme. We kind of found one that we like. So can you work with this theme? And I went and take a look at the theme, and I was like, yeah, well, they had 3 different sliders. The header image that you use on the top of a website. There were 3 different ones installed that you could choose from. And then there were like 18 plugins that they required that you want to plug in to work with that theme. And then there was like this and that and that. And by the time I got done looking at the code, I'm like, well, yeah, we can work with this. It's going to be hell, but we can work with it. But then I have to go back into the code itself and strip out a lot of the garbage that it doesn't need. Why? Because if you're trying to get a fast, responsive, mobile-friendly website, you got to get rid of the garbage. Okay? So you don't want it to be over bloated like that, right? So, and this is the reason why. Because Google reads a website from the top down, left to right, just like you read a book. And as it's reading, it reads through each line of code, and if it's got automatically 3 different sliders, even though you're only using one of them, it has to go through and read the code for that slider. Or for whatever it is, whatever JavaScript code. You might have 15 different things of JavaScript going on. And don't worry about what that means. It's just some extra code to help define the website. But they're not necessary. And then you go in and, one of the sections in my book, I talk about comments. And I'm not talking about the comments that you leave when you like a post or if you like this Facebook Live, comment for me. I, really appreciate the comments because it helps me produce better stuff for you. And if you have questions, then it helps me to answer questions, help you with your struggles, or produce a piece of content that goes around that. But these are comments that are what's called HTML comments. And if your website is bloated with HTML comments in the back, stuff that you never see, then when you do put a comment in, it gets watered down. And this is one of these Area 51 marketing conspiracy tips that I like to give. A comment is a valuable tool in your website. Google reads that like a keyword and actually reads it better than keywords. It takes it more value, it's got more strength, it's got more authority, more credibility when you use comments on a page. But if you have a lot of them all over the page, then it's kind of like taking red dye and taking a gallon of water and putting a drop of red dye in it. Now, is the water red? Well, technically, yeah, it is, but it's so diluted that you don't see it. Okay, the only way you're going to see it is if you take like Kool-Aid and you pour a lot of it in, and then that turns the whole thing red. But that's not what happens. So this little comment is stronger and more powerful, and it's one of the techniques I use to help rank my clients higher and higher and higher in Google than just about anybody else. And in almost 25 years, I'll tell you one thing. There hasn't been a website in the world that I have not been able to get on the first page of Google using some of the techniques that I talk about, and especially that one in my new book. So if you want to learn some of these things, grab a hold of the copy. So this is what's a sick website. So you can go in and you can figure that out, how that is. 2, is it dying? So we talked about sick websites, overbloated, overstuffed, breaks down the immune system. Same thing, it dilutes the power of being able to be ranked well, or it's going to cost you lots and lots of more money to rank well with a sick website. And the only way to get rid of the sick website, it's like a cancer. You got to remove a bunch of the junk that's in it, clean it out, and just slim it down as much as possible. So what about you got a dying website? Whoa, dying websites are tough. Now in my book, I'm going to talk about my book a lot. In my book, I have a chapter and it's called "What Kind of Website Do You Have?" So and I describe 3 types of websites, not sick, dead, or dying or dead. But I talk about the kind of website that sends traffic to you, the kind of website that you send traffic to, or the kind of website that collects internet dust. There's a lot of websites out there. All they're doing is collecting internet dust. And what happens? That's a dying website right there. That's if it's not dead already, it's dying. Like I said, if it's more than 2 years old, it's already sick and it's probably dying, but it may not be dead yet. It can still be revived. And what you have is the type of website that somebody buys, a small business especially. I've seen this more with brick and mortar businesses that are trying to get online. They go, you know what? I need a website. I got to have a website. I think I'm going to get a website. But basically, you get a website for all the wrong reasons. And then when you get a website, you don't know what to do with it. So it's kind of like getting business cards, right? I got business cards here. I love business cards. When I'm out meeting people, it's a little bit easier than opening up my laptop, typing in my thing. And I only have a couple things on my business card, and the biggest number one thing is my web address. Why? Because my website it can be used like a large scale business card. I can put tons of stuff on it, and I can dynamically update it. Boom, just like that. If I accidentally typed in my phone number wrong, whoa, how much business are you going to get if you type in your phone number wrong? Not. Okay, so your website could be dying because of that. Maybe you typed it in wrong. But guess what? You just go into the back end, retype the number, click save, boom, now it's correct, and everyone can find you, and they can call you again. Okay, so now it's starting to work a little bit. But the business owner who gets his website, and it's like getting business cards. If you buy business cards and stick them in your pocket and never give them to anyone, then it's a useless tool. It's an absolutely useless tool. If I take business cards and I put them in the shelf in my office and I never give them out to anyone, I go, oh man, a year later, I go, well, I spent all this money on getting graphic design for my business card. I got 1,000 of them sitting over there in the closet, and they're not doing me a damn bit of good. Well, yeah, it's not working for me. These dumb business cards, man, they don't work for me. You know what I'm saying? They don't work at all. They're just stupid. And that's the way people think about their website. They get a website, they don't do anything with it, they never update it. I saw a website just the other day, and down on the bottom, you can tell when they created the website because they put in the copyright, created, copyright 2012. Okay, stay up to date on these things, man. It is so important to stay up to date on these things. I go to a website and I said, man, this thing hasn't been updated since 2012. I don't even know if they're in business. You got to stay up, even on the little tiny thing at the bottom, copyright. Okay, let me just get that business card just a second. I hate lettering, little joke. But seriously, it's little things like this that make your website dying, and you wonder why nobody ever calls you from your website. Or maybe you just made it and you put so much crap on there, okay? Pardon my French, so much merde. Yeah, I can say it in multiple languages. But have you ever gotten a business card from somebody and they've got so much stuff on the business card? I mean, seriously, this is a 2.5 by 3 inches. Okay, back in the day in traditional marketing, when you had nothing else to do, you put in as much stuff on your business card as you possibly could, front and back. Why? Because you paid $35 for 1,000 of them. You want to get your money's worth, right? So what happens if you accidentally type in and send it to print with the wrong phone number? You just spent $35. It's gone. History, archives. Throw them away, get a new one. What happens when you got a business card with so much crap on it, it takes Sherlock Holmes a magnifying glass to try and read it because you have to put everything in such small print. Those days are over. You don't need that anymore. Phone number, name of your business, your web address. Okay, another sign of whether or not your website is dying or gonna die. Tell you what, it's gonna die if I meet you on the street and get talking with you a little bit. Maybe I see you sign or something, see you working and going, hey, you got a business card? And they go, yeah, here's my business card. Great, that's awesome. Um, wow, I noticed you don't have your web address. Do you have a website? If I gotta ask if you got a website, it's not on your business card, and you tell me, yeah, I got a website. I'm like, man, your website is instantly, bells go off. Ding, 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 ding. It's like the fire department over here every morning, 7 o'clock. Ding, ding, ding. That's why I was a few minutes late, because I was waiting for them to get done with their sound check. But you know what? 35 bucks. Well, I got all these other business cards I wanted to give out before I put on my web address. Why? You got a website? It gives me 100,000 times more information than a business card, and you don't want to just throw those things away. Order new business cards. Get your web address on the business card, otherwise your website will die. 6 months from now, you're going to be going, that damn thing doesn't work for me. That doesn't work. Nobody ever calls. Well, you never tell anyone you even have one, so why is anyone going to call? If you don't give out your phone number, how can anyone call you? If nobody knows where you are or how to get a hold of you, how can it work? Okay? A website is not an end location. It is not a destiny. It is a marketing tool that helps people understand your business better so they can end up at the final destination, which is in your business. Okay? So now the other sign, a dead website. Number 3, is your website dead? What does that mean? That means if someone actually goes to your website, my son's got a trampoline. And I when he first wanted to get a trampoline, I was all against it. And I was like, oh, yeah, trampoline's okay. We just don't need a trampoline in the backyard. And I didn't want him doing anything. Well, they make new trampolines. They got things to help protect you, to keep you from falling out and stuff like that. But still, I just didn't. I was all against it. My wife just said, okay, well, you go for it anyway. So he raised the money to get the trampoline. He bought the trampoline, and he's out there bouncing around on the trampoline. Okay, bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. Well, this is what happens when people come to your website and it's either so bad, so confusing, or just doesn't have anything good on it. They hit your website and they bounce right off. Boom, bounce right out of there. You know, you can look at your analytics, and I hear people tell me all the time, they go, man, I got 1,000 people coming to my website every month, but nobody ever calls, nobody ever fills out a form, nobody ever Nobody ever contacts us. Nobody ever signs up for our newsletter. Nobody ever does this. Nobody ever does that. That's because your website is dead. It's either too confusing, and a confused mind always says no, or it's just ugly and it's not designed for your customer. Okay, you might like it, but who cares? You know what? It doesn't matter what you like. Truthfully, the bottom line is your website is for your customers. It's not for you, technically. Okay? You want to design for your customers so that when you're adding value and benefit and giving the direction and where you want them to go, yeah, maybe you want to sell insurance, brick and mortars. I got a great, chiropractic funnel. Well, I don't want to. I don't want to try and sell everything on my funnel. Your website is a funnel. Even if you don't use it that way, it's still a funnel. And whether or not you have your funnel in the right place or you're filling it with the right stuff. So I've seen a lot of businesses get a lot of people. They spend money on ads and they do stuff and they actually try to use their website a little bit, and they drive traffic to the website. But they hit that website and they bounce off it just like a trampoline, just like my son does. He bounces up and down on that trampoline. And they're out of there. They don't buy, they don't do anything. So that's how you can tell whether or not you have a dead website. Okay, it's dead. Okay, a website has three goals, three purposes. Actually, it has one purpose, one objective for your website. That's it. But there are three ways to accomplish that. Okay, your objective on your website is to either get them to make a phone call, get them to fill out a form, or get them to email you in some way possible. So you want them to do an action. And if your website is not designed, basically we call it designed to convert, to either get them to call you, to get them to buy something from you. Let's say you got products on your website. Maybe you're a chiropractor, but you also sell some oils and stuff, so that relaxing oils. I don't know, aromatherapy candles and stuff like that as a little extra thing. But so you want them to either call you, fill out a form, or send you an email, or buy a product. If they're not doing one of those three things, when people get to your website, it's dead. And it needs to be changed. And so then you can't complain that your website's not working. One, you're not working it. Two, you either made it so ugly that people want to bounce off of it. Three, it's so confusing that there's so much stuff going on. They're like, I don't know where to go. I'm going to go someplace easier. Okay? And those three things happen all the time. So how can you fix that? Take out the clutter. Again, we talked about it in the beginning. Just if you have a sick website and it's bloated and overstuffed on the inside, you got to take out the clutter. And that's a lot of script that just doesn't need to be there. Get somebody, if you don't know how to do it, get somebody to go in and say, hey, look at my website, take out what is not necessary so that I'm only using the scripts that I actually need. Your website's going to be faster. And when it's faster, your website ranks higher in all the search engines, especially Google. If it's not mobile friendly, it needs to be checked for mobile friendliness. Page speed is a big factor in mobile friendliness. I was looking at a website out of 100 just yesterday. I was looking at a website checking their page speed, and it was an 18 on mobile devices. 18 out of 100. Not good. Way down there in the red. What can you do? Well, it gives you actually tips on what you can do, so you can check your page speed of your website. Anything below an 80 really needs some modification. Seriously bad. All right? And the reason is it's so easy to put in big, large images. Not just the bloated text, but big, large images. Now, when you create a WordPress website or one of those Kicks websites or, one of those Shopify, whatever those things are. You drop in an image that says, oh, just put it in an image here, and they kind of resize it for you and do all kinds of stuff. Well, that image is so damn big, it takes a half hour for your phone to download it. You're sitting there waiting. Someone actually lands on your website, and they're trying to load it, and it's sitting there and waiting and waiting and waiting, and they will always blame your website. I don't care if it's optimized for whatever it is. A person who is looking at your website from their phone will always blame your website as the reason they can't get to it. And if they have to wait more than 6-7 seconds, whoa, actually your page should load in less than 2 seconds. But if they have to wait more than 6-7, guess where they're going? Bounce, just like trampoline bounce, boom, they're gone. They don't want to wait. People don't want to wait. They're scrolling, 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 scrolling. They don't want to wait. So you got to make it fast. And those are things that can be fixed. So if it's bloated, if it's just sick, or if it's dying, you can revive it. If it's dead, it needs to be totally restructured. Okay? If they're just bouncing in and you're telling people to go there and you're doing all this stuff and they're just bouncing off, it's dead. It's not converting. It's not doing anything but killing your sales. You're losing more money than you're spending even on your ads. Okay, so those are some of the things that I just wanted to share today. I just got a new client that I'm working with right now, and their website was on the way to being a dead website. It is kind of a dead website. They were getting traffic to it. People weren't converting, but it was also made on a platform where it's over bloated, so we can take out a lot of that. And I think some of the conversion parts, as I looked at it, was speed. Their images are extra over bloated. They weren't really optimized well. So we got to take out the images, redo them so that they're faster, put them back in, and everything like that. And so we're going to be doing some great stuff with that website. I'm pretty excited about it, and I think we can revive that one. And that's does it mean it can't be revived if it's dead? No. I used to work in the medical industry. I worked on an ambulance for years, and when someone's heart stops, what do? Well, you start doing CPR, and there's a lot of websites that need CPR right now. And the hardest work I ever did was, CPR on somebody, and it's amazing, it's great, it's awesome when they come back, right? And they come back and they live and they go on. And we finally get them to the hospital, and all they got to do is intubate them and give them some extra stuff, some drugs and stuff like that to help, and then they monitor them on the heart monitors. But when you're out in the field, when you're out, out in the middle of nowhere, and someone has a heart attack, and you're doing CPR, and then you got to use the paddles and go and jump them a couple times to get them going and get them back going. Well, that's what some websites are like right now. That's what they need. They need the shock. That's it. It's boom. So that's what we do when we clean them out and get them rolling, get them back in. And hey, that's really all I have for today. Talking about those three types of websites. And if you have any one of those three, if you're not sure, give me a call. 405-818-0182. And I will be glad to take a look at your website and just give you a couple pointers. Okay? If it's a really big thing and you want, I can give you a quote on what it would take to fix it. But I can at least point out some things that are possibly wrong with it, some areas where you can, make it better. Get out some of the bloat, or clean up some of the junk. Or, if you're trying to make it convert, what can you do? Maybe you just got too much stuff on your homepage, and you're trying to sell your homepage, but you're not focusing on the actual stuff. People aren't interested in your homepage, really, most of the time. That should be the place when they're searching for your stuff in social media. Let's say you're talking about a product or a service, take them to that page, not your homepage. Oh, come to my website, come to my homepage, and now I've got 20 different things going on there. No, take them to that page. If you're talking about SEO, let's say you're a digital marketing company, you're talking about SEO, take them to the page that is only about SEO. One objective, one target, one result. Focus on the one thing that they are interested in and offer it to them. You're going to get more results. That's just the way it is. Okay? I talk a lot about that in my book, Area 51, Marketing Conspiracy Exposed. This is my new #1 bestseller. I'm pretty excited about it. And you can get a free copy of it on my website, area51marketingconspiracyexposed.com. I know it's a mouthful, but hey, it's all right. There are so many, 288 pages of digital marketing, building business blocks, especially for brick and mortar businesses. If you don't understand digital marketing, this is the book you need to have on your bookshelf and go through it often. I talk about the power of social media right there. I break down different avenues of social media. The things in this book come from 25 years of experience. It took me almost 2 years to write this book, trying to make sure that the stuff in it stays relevant even as things change. So, social media might change, this might change, Google and Facebook might change their algorithms, but the techniques that I've been using for almost 25 years, they have not changed. The ones that I'm using and the ones that I share in this book, uh, these are the ones that I do not change, have not changed. And by utilizing those in your digital marketing approach, you know, you've got the website funnel. We've been talking about that a little bit. What kinds of websites do you have? What kinds of websites are there? We'll talk about email, how to build an email list, and where the money is and where the gold is. It's like gold digging, seriously. I've got some bonus chapters in here. I was really excited I was able to get in during the early part of the pandemic. Before I was getting ready to go to print, I started writing some things, and I thought maybe I can get these in before I go to print. And so I've got that going on, the profit cycle formula, how to do that, how to create the one big thing, the one big offer to get more customers into your business. And then I've got the Comedy Club rapid fire testing formula. And that one is really powerful. I know it sounds like a funny title, but it's really true. If you understand how comedians get their jokes, how you can rapidly test products for brick and mortar into your funnels and increase your sales from less than 1% to who knows. I know some that have used it 35%, 30, 40% return on their sales and increase their sales that much. Okay, so those are some of the tips and techniques. Last thing I want to do is I want to say hi to Coffee Jerks. Coffee Jerks is a great place if you want to go get coffee. If you're in Oklahoma City, near 122nd and May, jump on in, stop in, and tell them Matthew sent you. They are open at 6:30 Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock on the weekends, and you can actually sit down. It's one of the few coffee places that I have found in a 10-mile radius where you could sit down, have a nice cup of coffee, and they really do have good coffee. And so sit down, have a nice cup of coffee. They got Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi that you can connect to, and they have plug-ins at each of the tables around the wall so that you don't have to lose juice while you're sitting there enjoying with some friends or whatever it is. So you can come in here anytime. It's a great place, great coffee. They got food, breakfast food, breakfast burritos, stuff like that. They got, the muffins are so good. Their blueberry muffin was like, oh my goodness, it was just amazing. And I'm not a big muffin person, but I tried one and I was like, wow, that's really good. So anyway, that's all I have for today. And I am here every morning at 7 o'clock, right around there. It might be 7:05 from now on because when I'm out here at Coffee Jerks, there's a fire station right across the street, and they test their sirens at 7 o'clock. So I might wait always until right after the sirens. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. If you liked what you hear today, share it with your friends so that they can benefit and help grow their business. That's what I'm here for. Area 51, Marketing Conspiracy Exposed, giving to you tips and techniques that the big digital marketing companies don't want you to know about. These are the things that will help you grow your business exponentially online starting today. Until tomorrow, have a great day and you be blessed.